7:46 a.m. local time, 22nd of October 2025, South China Sea. The morning horizon is pale gold, the kind of deceptive calm that makes the ocean look endless and harmless. On the bridge of the USS Higgins DDG-76, the watch crew leans into routine. Coffee cups, low chatter, the hum of consoles. Then the operator stiffens. New contact, bearing 275, closing fast. The captain moves behind the scope. A single green pulse blossoms on the screen. Then, another. The contact's vector cuts directly across the destroyer's projected course. No AS signal, no identification. Within seconds, the room's easy rhythm disappears. Over the speaker, a sharp, accented voice breaks through the static. U.S. warship, you are in Chinese waters. Leave immediately. The bridge goes quiet. Outside the South China Sea lies glassy and still. Just beyond the horizon sits Scarborough Shoal, a ring of half-submerged coral claimed by Beijing, Manila, and the sea itself. To Washington, these are international waters. To Beijing, their sovereign territory. Log the transmission, the captain orders. Respond on open channel. Standard phrasing. The communications officer keys the mic, his voice calm, clipped, practiced. Unidentified vessel, this is United States warship conducting lawful transit through international waters. No interference required, no reply. Moments later, two new radar signatures appear, larger, faster, moving in tight formation. From the starboard bridge wing, binoculars confirm what the radar already knows. Two Chinese Type 052D destroyers, bow waves cutting white scars across the calm sea. They're closing at 27 knots. On-deck sailors pause mid-task. You can feel the air change heavy with salt and tension. Inside Combat Information Center, status boards light up. Every transmission, every bearing, every movement is recorded automatically, part of the Navy's ironclad rule for these encounters. Warn, document, de-escalate. CPA, the captain asks. Closest point of approach, 1.2 nautical miles, and shrinking, the navigator replies. That's too close for comfort. The Higgins maintains course and speed, freedom of navigation protocol, neither confrontational nor submissive. Her SPY-1D radar keeps sweeping, painting a digital halo around every target within 200 miles. The crew knows their ship's reputation. An Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, 155 meters of steel and precision, packed with more firepower than most nations' entire fleets. But this morning isn't about firepower. It's about restraint. Outside, the first Chinese destroyer slides into view, its gray hull throwing light off the waves. Through binoculars, you can see sailors lining the rails, cameras pointed straight at the Higgins. Their wake foams in parallel, a deliberate show of control. Bridge to combat. Maintain MCON 3. Record all emissions. Electronic warfare confirms faint radar pings from the Chinese ship's surface, search mode only. Not yet fire control. A warning tap, not a strike. Then, over the radio again, U.S. vessel, you are intruding into Chinese waters. Alter course immediately, or you will bear responsibility for all consequences. Still, the Higgins holds steady. The captain leans over the chart table. We're 25 miles off the shoal, still well outside any recognized territorial limit. Keep course. No deviations. The tension is visible now, sailors' eyes flicking between radar scopes and the sea beyond the glass. Even the sound of the ventilation fans seems louder. Every motion feels magnified, the turn of a wheel, the tap of a pen, the quiet hiss of the intercom. CIC set recording time, mark 0753. Flag all transmissions for intelligence review. A petty officer nods, typing. Beyond the bridge windows, the Chinese destroyers have matched speed exactly. They're close enough that you can see the sunlight glint off their hull numbers. No weapons are manned, but their intentions are clear, pressure by proximity. Inside the Higgins, discipline holds. No raised voices, no sudden moves. The crew rehearsed this hundreds of times. Each log entry, each radar sweep, each unreturned hail is part of a larger picture, proof of professionalism under provocation. At 7:58 a.m., The captain steps to the window, watching the two warships ghosting alongside his destroyer. "Keep recording," he says quietly. "Let them make the next move." The radar keeps pulsing. The ocean stays calm. But in the silence between transmissions, everyone on board knows exactly what this is. A contest of will fought, not with missiles, but with patience. And somewhere beyond the reef line of Scarborough Shoal, the world's next maritime confrontation has just begun. 8:09 a.m. local time, South China Sea. The ocean mirrors the sky blue, calm, deceptive, but the radar picture tells a different story. Two Chinese Type 052D destroyers have moved into a flanking formation, one off the Higgins starboard quarter, another drifting forward of her beam. They're boxing her in a slow, deliberate maneuver known in naval terms as a shadow escort. Inside the Combat Information Center, the air hums with restrained focus. The displays glow green and amber, dozens of targets tracking simultaneously. Voices are low-clipped. Every data point, speed-bearing range is logged and cross-checked. Contact Red 1, now holding at 600 yards, reports the surface watch. Red 2 closing 300 yards and narrowing. Copy that, replies the tactical action officer. Maintain course. Log all movements. The captain stands at the center of the bridge, arms folded, eyes locked on the digital sea. No deviation. We stay predictable. Outside, the Chinese destroyer Huainan looms so close, the crew can make out her deck markings and hull number. Her twin Type 730 CIWS turrets track in idle rotation, silent but visible enough to send a message. A second transmission crackles through Mandarin-accented and stern U.S. "Warship, you are violating Chinese sovereignty. Turn away immediately." The Higgins answers once calm and rehearsed. "This is United States warship conducting lawful transit through international waters under international law. We intend no harm and will maintain our course." Then silence. The sea between the ships churns white from propeller wash. Each vessel adjusts fractionally to maintain separation without collision. On radar, the CP8 closest point of approach drops below 500 yards. For destroyers moving at 20 knots, that's a knife's edge. On deck, sailors man observation posts. Cameras are rolling. The ship's SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite detects intermittent radar sweeps, low-power fire control testing from the Chinese side. Not enough to trigger countermeasures, but enough to raise every heartbeat aboard. The executive officer leans toward the captain. "They're painting us, sir. Short bursts." "Record it," the captain replies. No reaction. To an untrained eye, the Higgins looks motionless. In reality, she's performing a delicate ballet of micro-corrections. 1 or 2 degrees on the rudder. Fractional throttle changes to keep the formation stable without appearing evasive. Her Aegis SPY-1D radar maintains lock on all nearby contacts, ready to shift from surveillance to defense in milliseconds if a single hostile signal appears. Overhead, the Seahawk helicopter sits, fueled on deck, rotors still tied. Its crew waits in the ready room, headsets on. If things turn sharp, they'll be airborne in less than 3 minutes. At 8:21 a.m., the Chinese ship astern surges forward, cutting closer than ever before, less than 300 yards. The wake from her bow sprays across the Higgins hull. Bridge, CIC contact Red 2. Crossing CPA, 280 yards closing. Helm, 5 degrees port, the captain orders quietly. Maintain speed. The destroyer tilts slightly, slicing a clean arc that widens the gap by just enough. The maneuver looks effortless. It isn't. One wrong calculation, and $2 billion worth of steel could collide. On the Chinese deck, sailors film the scene. A red flag flutters above them. The intent is obvious propaganda material, to show the world an American destroyer backing down. But the camera doesn't catch the truth. The Higgins hasn't changed course. Only the angle of the sea makes it look that way. Inside CIC, the electronic warfare operator calls out, picking up encrypted chatter between Red 1 and Red 2. Short bursts, No translation yet. Keep recording the TAO answers. We'll sort it later. Minutes stretch like hours. The tension isn't cinematic, it's surgical. Every sailor knows the rules of engagement by heart, weapons tight. Respond only to direct hostile intent. One wrong decision here could ignite a regional crisis. Then it happens. The Chinese lead ship veers slightly starboard, cutting closer just a few hundred feet away before leveling off. Its engines thunder through the water like distant drums. The bridge windows on both vessels reflect each other's crews. For a few breathless seconds, two nations stare eye to eye through glass and salt spray. CIC, mark that time. 8:29, the captain says softly. That's as close as they'll get. And he's right. The Chinese ships begin to ease off their throttles, dropping wake widening behind them. But the message has been sent and received. Neither side spoke beyond the scripted line. No collisions. No shots. Just precision restraint and the quiet understanding that next time the line might be thinner. 9:42 a.m. local time. The sea is calm again, the tension less so. On the USS Higgins, the radar scope finally clears two fading echoes, sliding west toward the horizon. The Chinese destroyers have peeled away, throttling down to cruise speed. For the crew, it's the moment they can breathe again. But no one relaxes completely. In this ocean, even a retreat is tactical. Contacts now opening range. Closest point recorded at 270 yards, reports the Combat Information Center. Copy. Secure from general quarters, the captain replies. His voice is steady but dry. From the bridge, Scarborough Shoal lies invisible below the morning haze, just coral and rock beneath shallow turquoise water. Yet on the geopolitical map, it might as well be gold. Every inch of it is claimed, debated, and defended. For Beijing, it's Huangyan Chinese territory since ancient times. For Manila, it's part of the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone, as confirmed by the 2016 Hague Tribunal ruling. For Washington, it's an international waypoint that must stay open. 3 flags, 1 reef, and 1,000 ways to start a crisis. By mid-morning, the Higgins resumes her freedom of navigation track, maintaining a steady 15 knots north by east. The logs are sealed, data exported, and every second of radar and radio recording encrypted for review by U.S. Indo-Pacific Command. The ship's intelligence officer marks the encounter as routine shadowing, no incident. But everyone aboard knows that's only technically true. Hours later, Beijing's Southern Theater Command issues its statement through state television. Chinese naval units monitored, warned, and expelled a United States destroyer that illegally entered territorial waters near Huangyan Dao. The phrasing "drove away" isn't random. It's crafted for domestic broadcast firm triumphant face-saving. Footage isn't shown, but the message is clear. The party protects its sea. In Washington, the Pentagon fires back with equal precision. USS Higgins conducted a routine freedom of navigation operation in accordance with international law. No unsafe or unprofessional interactions occurred. Each word is calibrated, routine, lawful, professional. A linguistic firewall against escalation. For media outlets, the standoff becomes a headline, then a symbol. For the sailors on board, it becomes another entry in the ship's log. But behind the diplomatic language, the implications run deep. This was the first time in 6 years that a U.S. destroyer sailed directly within 12 nautical miles of Scarborough Shoal. It wasn't random timing. Just 3 months earlier, the Philippines expanded its Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, granting U.S. forces access to 4 new bases across Luzon. China's response was immediate. More patrols, more law enforcement operations, and more gray-hulled warships showing the flag. The Higgins encounter fits perfectly into that pattern. It wasn't combat, it was calibrated signaling. Every maneuver, every transmission, even every silence had purpose. For Beijing, it demonstrated control. For Washington, it asserted freedom. And for Manila watching from the sidelines, it meant reassurance that America still sails where it says it will. Back on the Higgins, the crew gathers for debrief. The atmosphere is disciplined, not triumphant. They know this playbook by heart. Document, analyze, prepare for the next run. The electronic warfare officer lists each radar ping from the Chinese ships. The intelligence chief tags the data packets useful for future encounters. The ship's log notes no injuries, no damage, no deviation. Just professionalism under pressure. Still, the questions linger. How close can two rival navies operate without a single mistake? And how long until one of those routine passes stops being routine? Outside the sea glitters indifferent. The Higgins cuts through the swell white spray, curling off her bow engines, humming a low, steady rhythm. For now, holds. But beneath that peace, the contest continues. Satellites tracking hulls, aircraft shadowing patrols each side, mapping every move the other makes. The South China Sea has become a chessboard, where the pieces are steel and the rules are rewritten every day. In this game, victory isn't about who fires first. It's about who keeps sailing when the other side blinks. The camera fades out on the destroyer's wake, narrow, perfect, and straight as a drawn line across blue water. Do these encounters make conflict inevitable, or are they the price of keeping the world's most contested waters open? Drop your take in the comments. Like, subscribe, and join the fleet to support more real naval stories from the edge of modern deterrence. Fair winds and following seas. See you in the next one.